Welcome back to another episode of NFL News on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and thank you. If you're subscribed, if you're not, click the button, man. What you doing? Or woman, or non-binary. But if you are or you're not, click the thumbs up. All that helps grows the channel, and I thank you for it. Today, it is football season, people. I mean, not officially, but we're almost there. We're almost there. I can't wait. NFL season, let me rephrase because I don't care about college football. I care about high school football more than college football. But NFL, King, I can't wait. Oh, my God. The games, the Bears, the betting, just everything. It's all fun. So, yeah, I'm going to go through each team kind of quickly and just talk about the news going on as we get towards the season. And then we are going to, or I'm going to more than likely talk about my predictions, even though I don't really like doing those too much because, you know, it's early, but hey, whatever. And now I think about it, I don't know a lot about every team, so bear with me if you're like, oh my God, how could you skip this part? I don't know the ins and outs of every single team, excuse me. But I'll do my best to point out some things that I think are interesting. All right, so we'll start with the NFC North. I already talked about the Bears preview. You go check that out. The Detroit Lions are a hard knock team. I'm excited. I'm invested. I mean, hard knocks. We know how well put together that whole thing is. We know that they win awards for a reason. It sucks you in. It's done really well. So I'm really invested. I mean, this is a team in my team's division, and I'm invested. But I said the same thing about Dan Campbell that I did about, I forgot his name, the Houston's head coach last year. Like, they had their teams competing, and Texans actually won some games. So to sit here and, you know, go straight by the record and say it was a failure is silly. You got to see what the team was, especially compared to what it was prior. And you saw Dan Campbell as somebody that was building something. And Hard Knocks gave us a chance to really see a little bit behind the curtains of how he does that. And I like him. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for the team. I think they have a completely different attitude. And I'm always curious to see if that turnaround is going to work out. So, really this season is just about what can they build upon. Because the thing is, if you win, whatever you do is cool. Bill Belichick doesn't talk to the media, but he won all these Super Bowls. Pete Carroll likes to do this. They won the Super Bowl, so it's cool. So whenever you win, it's cool. So it doesn't necessarily matter his style. It just matters about the results. The Green Bay Packers, no Devontae Adams. As much as people talk about Aaron Rodgers, look, if you are, I wouldn't say curious, if you just don't know a lot about Aaron Rodgers, you should watch him on the Pat McAfee Tuesdays. Go back and watch all those. You really get to know the dude. Like, the people that are thinking he was going to retire or he doesn't like football anymore, you just really haven't listened to Aaron Rodgers. So I know he's 100% in, and he's going to be on that field giving it what he has. But Devontae Adams is gone. They didn't really replenish. So we're really curious. I wouldn't even say what Aaron Rodgers is going to do because he was doing it before Devontae Adams. We're more curious what the team is going to be without that star power on offense. And so that'll be interesting because I think they added some good pieces to the defense. So they should be big contributors. But we're really curious what Aaron Rodgers is going to do without Devontae Adams. The Vikings, I don't know. They're kind of flying under the radar, to be honest with you. It might make them a little bit of a surprise competitor, but, you know, they got a new regime, so we're just kind of waiting to see what they can do. But, yeah, I don't really think people are looking at them too much. But like I said, that could make them a low-key contender. You got Danielle Hunter and Zadarius teamed up, so curious what that's going to be like. And then Justin Jefferson continued his ascent, but Kirk Cousins the guy, so we'll see what happens there. NFC East, the Cowboys. I mean, it's the same thing every year with the Cowboys, but Specifically this year, you got injuries, and you got you got injuries at the receiver, but even healthy, you got a lack of known commodities, knowing what you're going to get. CeeDee Lamb is going to be the guy for the first time without Amari Cooper there to take away attention. And then you got injuries to the other receivers. So now you're leaning on a rookie, and the offensive line is a little bit in flux. So we're going to see. And I don't know, the defense, you get D-Law back, which I think is good, but you don't really add too much on the defense. People want to see, at least for me, I want to see Micah Parsons and Diggs. Most likely Diggs, because Parsons, I know, he has his head on right to get better. I want to see if Diggs gets better as a corner, not just ball skills. We know he can do that, but can he get better as a corner, not giving up, the most yards in the league? So will they mature? Will that defense take a step? And can the offense survive to get healthy? And if they're healthy, can they do something? The Giants, this is a make-or-break year for Saquon and Daniel Jones. It is what it is. I still really like Daniel Jones. He's going to be one of those stories that, and again, I don't know him, but I haven't heard anything like what's happening is really his fault. And that's why I say you can't compare quarterbacks. It's hard to know unless you can see them in another situation. Who's to say if he went to the Chargers instead and had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and all that, wouldn't have been different. Who knows? But this is a make or break year. I do think having Evan Neal hopefully healthy on the right side and Andrew Thomas kind of maturing, even if your O-line's not great, if your two tackles are good, that's going to help you a lot. So we'll see how that kind of helps out, and we'll see if Saquon stays healthy. The receiving core still kind of, whatever, but it's a make or break year. And to be honest, I think everybody has one foot out the door for Daniel Jones. They don't really see him long term, but I'm excited. I hope he's able to do something. I really like Dable in Buffalo. So we'll see what they can do. But honestly, I don't really have a whole lot of faith that they're going to put it together. It seems like they just have real deeper issues than just Daniel Jones. The Eagles, that's going to be the big one in the NFC East. The Cowboys are hurt and they underachieve a lot. So can the Eagles step up and be the class of the NFC least, as we call it? They bring in A.J. Brown. Everybody's talking about that. And they do get some important rookies and other additions. So I don't know. I mean, it's really a make or break year for Jalen Hurts. I personally don't see Jalen Hurts ever being that guy. I just don't. I just don't. I love Jalen Hurts. I love him, and I don't know him, but I love him as a player. He the bruz, all that good stuff. Love him as a guy, but I just don't see him ever being that type of quarterback where you can put it on his shoulders. But they have invested enough to put stuff around him, and so that's all you can really do, and he's got to play his part. So if everybody plays their part, I think Jalen Hurts could absolutely be a plus value to winning, but I don't think he's going to be the X factor to winning. So it really is their division to take, and we got to see if they step up. The Commander, with Wentz, I mean, I don't see them going far. I think this is a placeholder year as they lock up some young guys and they, get some people more advanced into the system. But I think they're going to be looking for a new quarterback, and there's going to be plenty of quarterbacks coming up. So I just think it's a placeholder year. The Falcons, another team that's kind of, I wouldn't say tanking, but it's a placeholder year. They don't have Calvin Ridley. Mariota's a stopgap. A lot of people think Ritter's the guy. Look, all my evaluations on the quarterbacks are out there. This is not a great QB class. As prospects, they can grow, into certain things in a situation, but I don't think Ritter's in a great situation, to be honest. But he might get some go, but I don't think he's the future, to be honest. But, we'll see. The Panthers, is all about Baker Mayfield. There's nothing else to talk about. I mean, I'm really curious about J.C. Horn being able to show, is he as good, better than Patrick Surtain Jr.? We'll see if he's healthy, if he can play. 2 straight years with injuries is going to say a lot as far as his label. Jeremy Chin, I'm curious how they're going to use him. But all in all, it's about Baker Mayfield. It's about Baker Mayfield. To a certain extent, it's about C-Mac. Will C-Mac, stay healthy? But really, it's about Baker Mayfield. And, seeing if he can redeem himself. It's an interesting place to try to do it. But I think Baker is better than some people have gave him credit for. But he's also not as good as some people give him credit for. So we'll kind of see how it shakes out. But Baker, this is a perfect example of what I talk about with quarterbacks especially, but players in general. Most players don't transcend their situation and scheme. Most players are good where they are. That's why we see free agents, especially Super Bowl players that play well, go get big free agent contracts and then they're not good. Most players have to be in the right situation, especially with quarterbacks. So we're going to see a completely different situation, and we're going to see what Baker Mayfield can do. The Saints, I think it's a placeholder year for them too. Jameis isn't the answer, in my opinion. They brought in Honey Badger. He's still older, but I think that defense is kind of, winding down. Cam Jordan's on the back end. They lost Trey Hendrickson. Davenport hasn't shown up to be what they wanted him to be. Lattimore is still solid. But, they really have moved a number of pieces over the years, good pieces. And now they gave away Chauncey Gardner. So I think that defense is winding down. And we'll see if Mike Thomas gets back to form and what Olave does, but I just don't see Jameis carrying them. So I think it's a placeholder year. The Bucs, all eyes on Tom Brady. To me, I don't know. I really don't. I think it would have been more on Todd Bowles and what the coaching is looking like. But with Tom Brady's new discussion about his marriage, it's going to be about Tom Brady. The exact same way with Kyler Murray and playing video games and not studying. Every little issue, people are going to go back to Tom Brady. Maybe he's distracted thinking about his wife and his marriage. And I don't think it's super appropriate to get into that stuff. But that's what the media does. They've been doing it for a while. So now it's a story. And again, I think, their marriage is between them. Like, I see some people taking a stance of what Tom should do and shouldn't do. I'm definitely not going to do that. But I will say it's understandable. If this is true, it's understandable that there's a strain being caused due to the fact that Tom Brady retired. And we knew something was weird. Something is weird. That's much I'll say. I don't need to dig into it, but something's weird because he retired out of nowhere. He came back 40 days later, but then there's this whole discussion about the Dolphins recruiting him to be a owner, then a player coach, or like a player, which I don't know how that works. Like, if you retire, I don't think you can come back that same season with a different team and dismiss your contract. So was he trying to get traded? But then we hear like his wife now didn't know he was coming back and they didn't want that. And so that leans to this whole he was forced to retire. So was he retiring to execute this Dolphins plan, or was he retiring because Giselle wanted him to? And then, so something's weird here. Something is very weird here that we don't know. And yes, I hope we find out. But right now, I'm not going to dig into it. It is what it is. But that's the question now. The NFC itself is just not, there's no one dominating. Yes, the Rams won. And we've seen many Super Bowl champs that don't guarantee you much the next year. And even though they won, they weren't in dominant fashion. So while the Bucs might not be on, the gravy train with the O-line injuries and everything, they still have a chance, especially for a late push. Like, they're able to start slow and then make a push towards the end of the season because we got an extra playoff spot, and the NFC is just not really, in my opinion, that's stacked. So the Bucs are going to be in contention. He's the GOAT. Everybody's going to be looking to him. And so, yeah. So I think that's their story. The NFC West, so loaded. So many storylines. I mean, the Cardinals, we know. It's about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, we talked about the whole the contract clause, the study. Look, I don't care what the Cardinals say. I don't care what Kingsbury says. I don't care what Kyler Murray says. I've covered this, so if you didn't listen, go listen. But if you did, you know how I feel. They put it in there for a reason. None of us are stupid. They put it in there for a reason. Like, to me, if they put you have to study outside of, the facility for 40 hours a week. Like, to me, and I'm just throwing a number out there, but that says to me, okay, we are trying to push you to a new level. We're trying to take this to the next level. And we want the best for you and for this team is for you to be challenged. But 4 hours or whatever it was, that tells me you just wasn't doing crap. So I just, the writing's on the wall. And as I said, every mistake he makes is going to go back to those jokes. I'm going to be making those jokes too. Him playing video games, being a big gamer, but also like the fact that we see they don't think you study. And so people are wondering, can you study? Now, some people say it's all bad, but it's not, because you already have people giving him positives that are like, whoa, if he doesn't study, look how good he's been. Now, how good has he really been? We could debate, but they're just like, look how good he's been without studying. If he studied, he's going to go crazy. So best believe whenever he does anything well, they're going to be like, see, he's been studying. He's been on it. He's turning a new leaf. So he's going to get praise he doesn't deserve. He's going to get blame he doesn't deserve. So that's the story with the Cardinals. But I do think Kingsbury's a little bit on the hot seat. I mean, he has gotten a talented team and a GM that has been drafting well, or the organization has been drafting well for a while. I still don't think Kingsbury's an NFL coach. And so we're going to see this year. At this point, they got to put some proof into the pudding. And the only thing people are talking about is the second half. Not how well they start off, how well they finish. So we'll be watching that. The Rams, Super Bowl. That's all we got to talk about. Aaron Donald's back in the saddle. Jalen Ramsey is still the best. So is Donald. Cooper might be the best receiver. Stafford has the elbow thing, but they said it'll be okay. They added a few pieces, but for the most part, they're back. Super Bowl. That's all we're talking about. 49ers. Let me say this. The Trey Lance stuff is stupid to me. It makes no sense to me. I hear all these people talking about, Trey Lance is going to be sitting there wondering, well, if we start off rough or we don't do well, will the other players be like, hey, we should go to Jimmy because he can win now? Duh. What else are they supposed to say? Do you want them to be like, oh, we'd rather lose as long as Trey Lance is our quarterback? No, they want to win. And you should want the team to win. There's an easy fix. Everyone's talking about, well, what do you do with Jimmy G? People didn't want him. He's hurt. Okay, you fix the money, but do you want him there while Trey Lance is there looking over his shoulder, blah, blah? Here's an easy fix. Play good. How about that, Trey Lance? Focus on doing your job. Focus on playing well. Win games. Then you have nothing to worry about. Point blank, period. So it's just a silly conversation to me. I don't know if people are being serious or if it's just something to talk about, but the whole Jimmy G, Trey Lance thing is silly to me. Trey Lance has to take care of Trey Lance. He has to go out there. He has to do his job, and he has to put up some W's. They hand the keys over to you. We know they got talent. Shoot, this team has been doing nothing but winning in the playoffs. So it's on you. It's on you right now. And that's what we'll be watching. Then the Seahawks, I think this is a rebuild year. I think they're going to be real bad, to be honest with you. I don't think there's much to talk about there. I think they're going to be real bad. And they signed DK, so I don't see them trading them. But they might trade Lockett. I don't know. I think they're going to be bad. Okay, that's the NFC. Let's jump over to the AFC. Oh, AFC North. Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I was going to do a separate video on this. The Lamar Jackson thing. I've talked about it before. I think that's why I didn't make a video. And I'm sure the channel's favorite troll is going to love this section. But Lamar Jackson, I'm not giving him that. I'm not giving him the contract everybody's talking about. 250 guarantee. It's not happening. And people are kind of talking out of both sides of their neck with this, where they're saying Lamar should not risk going out there because his style of play, he's susceptible to get injured and he's got no guarantee. Well, that's exactly why they don't want to guarantee him. Like, how can you in one sentence say Lamar should protect himself by not playing without a contract because he's highly likely to get injured, and then say the team should guarantee the contract for somebody that's likely to get injured? It's not, that don't make any sense. So I've talked about this many times before. People get mad. They can say it's racist. They can say whatever they want, but it's true. We have seen it. We saw it last year in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs. We saw it every single year. There was no question about Lamar potentially being effective. Like this whole idea about him switching positions. Look, he's athletic enough, he could. But this whole idea about he can't be effective. He could be effective. We've seen Michael Vick. We've seen Vince Young. We've seen a lot of different people come in effective. The question is, can you be consistent and can you win the tough games? And the answer has been no. Every single time. No. And so Lamar, so far, the answer's been no. So with all that information, even if you switch the offense, you just have not seen Lamar be able to play a style that's the style that wins championships. So are you going to guarantee him that? Like, if you stay what you're doing, which I do think people are figuring out, but can be effective against teams that could get you some W's, but you're not going to win a championship, and he might get hurt. Or we change the offense, less likely he gets hurt, but he's not effective, and it's not getting us W's. So, and I'm not saying that's a guarantee, but that's the risk you take. Me, personally, I would love to work out a deal. I would love to say, Lamar, going forward, let's balance this offense out. I would love to do that. But, is he open to that as his own person negotiating? We don't know. But, this back and forth about now, whether he sits out for a new contract or not, I don't care either way. That's up to him. That's a personal decision. If he does, salute to you. Use your power. If he doesn't, salute to you for going out to play. Same thing with Roquan Smith for the Bears. He's going out to play. My thing is these people acting like it's a slam dunk. Oh, he's an MVP. Look, he did something that's probably not going to be done again because the defenses are not going to allow him to go off like that. And then, yes, he won MVP. And these people and the perfect comparison is Aaron Rodgers, to be honest, because there's people that say here, so many people try to discount Aaron Rodgers MVP because of what he did in the playoffs. And it's like, hello, the MVP is a regular season award. They didn't care. Now with Lamar went from that MVP promptly right in the playoffs and got destroyed. Not destroyed, but he looked bad. And it's not like he's losing because the team's letting him down. He's a big part of the reason they lose in the playoffs. And so he went right from the MVP to getting beat up in the playoffs. And we don't count it. This is his regular season MVP. So I just wish we stayed consistent with that. Because I agree. Regular season, he earned that. But let's not act like he didn't just go straight to the playoffs and not deliver. And then he didn't deliver again. So, like, we've seen what he's been doing when it counts. And everybody wants to dismiss that. But with Aaron Rodgers, that's all they talk about. We don't care what he did in the regular season. What he going to do in the play? He going to be an exit, round 1 exit or round 2 exit. Lamar is too. But nobody talks about that. So yes, he's had certain stats. Yes, he's got the MVP, the Pro Bowls. Not saying he's not good. But I'm not paying Pat Mahomes money. I'm not paying Russ Wilson money. I'm not paying, eventually Joe Burrow, Herbert money. I'm not paying that for him. That's me. That's me personally. So the question is going to be, obviously, if he plays, which I think he will he get his contract, and what the rest of the offense is going to look like this year? He's put on the 20-plus pounds. Are they going to run him more? Is he going to try? Because honestly, he ran a lot less last year, and they didn't look great. So we got to see what they do this year. The Bengals, the Super Bowl. It's just like the Rams. There's not much to talk about. They added some pieces. They got to see if they can take the next step. The Browns, Deshaun Watson, there's nothing else to talk about. Whether the 11 games he's not there or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all about Deshaun Watson. People are going to be counting days till he come back. What will they look like when he gets back? Will he take over? Will it be too late? So really is Deshaun Watson and Brissett. That's what we're going to be looking at. And the Steelers, the quarterback, but I don't know. I don't see, potentially Pickett, but I just don't see any of them getting that offense to where they need to be. So we will be watching the quarterback, but this is kind of a placeholder year to me. But we'll see, because that defense is still pretty good. The Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl, that's what everybody's talking about. I'm curious what the offense is going to look like without Dable and how they're going to, take a step up if they can. But it's Super Bowl. Everybody's calling them the favorites. Can they dominate their division that is open to be dominated? The Dolphins, Tua, make a break year for Tua. That's all we talking about. That's all we looking at. There's nothing else to talk about. What is Tua going to do? Can he keep Tyreek Hill satisfied? Can he help this team win? I'm not a big Tua fan, but I think this is the make or break year. The Patriots, everything, but really the offense, Mac Jones, everybody's talking about the play calling. I tell you all the time, the play call is not as important as people try to make it out to be. At least the way they it ain't just this one, isolated decision-making process. Play calling is very collaborative on most teams. So the one sole play caller isn't super important as some people make it out to be. But in general, what would this offense look like? They got a real bad roster, in my opinion. So we got to see what the Patriots can do. And then the Jets, there's not much to talk about. Wilson, when will he come back? Will he mature? But it ain't a whole lot to talk about. The Texans, I think this is a make or break year for a lot of people. This could be a placeholder year, or this could be a year where you convince the powers that be that there's more here than you think. So I think there's a place where Lovey is out, where Mills is the backup, and they go somewhere different. But I think there's a place where Mills and this team can come together and do more than people expect, and Mills gets to be the long-term guy and maybe buy Lovey a few more years. I think there's space for that. The Colts, Matt Ryan, this is, I think, more on Frank Reich as a make-or-break year. We know the type of team they built. We know the type of roster they built, type of brand of football they play, but it has not resulted in the type of winning they want. So I think this is all eyes on Frank Reich. Can they get this team to the playoffs? The Jags, this is a building year just to see Trevor Lawrence in the maturation. The Titans, this might be a make-or-break year for Vrabel. They gave a raise to Derrick Henry. I don't know that they're going to commit to him. I have no clue. I'm not big into the Titans, but I could see a scenario where the powers that be are like, yeah, if we don't do it this year, maybe this whole dominant run game thing don't work. Maybe we want something more exciting. We gave away A.J. Brown and all that. Maybe it's time to start building a more exciting brand of football, get a top-tier quarterback or, a young quarterback prospect. They might be ready to blow it up. So I think this make a break for them, too. The Broncos, the AFC West in general is a whole vibe. So we're going to be looking at that. But we want to see how far does Russ elevate this team. And is Russ still good? To me, there's no question, but people have been questioning him like he fell off. And I think you look at what he had in Seattle, although good receivers, it just, come on now. So this team isn't Stafford joining the Rams, but it's still an upgrade. So we really want to see what Russ can deliver to a team that I wouldn't say is ready-made, but it's pretty good. And so with that defense, that run game, that receiving core, how far can he elevate them? And what does Nathaniel Hackett have to offer as a new coach? The Chiefs, what will Pat Mahomes do without Tyreek Hill? And what is that defense going to be for that matter? But what will Pat Mahomes do without Tyreek Hill? And this is, again, why I continue to say you can't compare quarterbacks. So this is completely different. What does Pat Mahomes look like without one of the biggest weapons he's had his whole career? That's going to be a big question. The Raiders, what does the offense, what level do they go to? Do they go to number one offense in the league, top three? What firepower does Devontae Adams really add, and how quickly will that chemistry grow with him and Derek Carr? And then the Chargers, can they win? This is a make-or-break year for Stanley, I believe, because Herbert ain't going nowhere. They love him. They're going to pour into him. They locked up some of their other assets. They got some good defenders. Like, they got a roster. They ain't doing nothing with them. It's the coach that's going to be out if they still can't make the playoffs. And it's going to be tougher because of this division. So what can the Chargers do to win games? And it's going to be really hard, especially if Herbert is better this year. It's going to be really hard not to look at the coach and be like, what are you doing with this roster? They are out here winning. Now, Stanley inherited a good roster. I can't remember his name, Anthony Lynn, the last coach. Like, they fired him. I'm like, man, they had a good team. And so I think it's going to be the same thing with Stanley. Like, you got a good team. Why y'all not winning? So can they win those close games? We know they can compete with teams, but can they win those close games? That's going to be the story for this team. So all in all, I think it's going to be tight on both sides for different reasons. The NFC is going to be tight-knit because there's no dominant team. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams with similar records because nobody's going to stand out from the pack. And because there's no team with a huge talent gap. The AFC, I think, is going to be tight-knit also, but that's because it's so much talent. So you look at the whole AFC West, you look at the Bills, you look at the Bengals and Ravens, you look at the Colts and Titans, I think it's going to be a dogfight in the AFC. So it's still going to be a tight race, in my opinion, on both sides, just for different reasons. So, again, kind of blindly going here. If I'm picking division winners, AFC North, I'm going with the Ravens. The AFC East, I'm going with the Bills. The South, I'm going with the Colts. The West, I'm going with the AFC West is tough. I'm still going to go with the Chiefs. NFC North, I'm going with the Packers, but I think Vikings are a sleeper. The East, NFC East, I'm going with the Eagles. The NFC South, I'm going with the Bucs. And the NFC West, I'm going with the Rams. So that's how I see it. Yeah, right now, again, like I said, it's really tough. I don't know if I could say with a lot of confidence Super Bowl type teams, but in my mind, I think Chiefs, Bills. Hold on, let me see. Chiefs, Bills, maybe the Broncos, and the Bengals. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Broncos, and then the NFC, Rams, Bucks, and that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Those are kind of the teams I'm thinking about for Super Bowl contending. But we got a lot of season to go. We got injuries that are going to happen. We got all types of stuff. We got moves to be made. So this is just sitting here today, but that's kind of my NFL preview. I'm excited for this season. Tell me what you think about your team. What's the storylines? What are you excited to see? Who do you think is going to win in your division? All that stuff. Share it around in the comment section. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.